Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the journey of the Photoshop. As you can see here, the thumbnail we have created here, who have made this Photoshop. And the Photoshop, it is the back. The story is in back in 1987. So let's go. We are going to discuss about that story. So back in 1987, what happened? So Thomas Knoll was the student of computer science of the pursuing his post graduation that time, and he was pursuing the image processing. He was working on the image processing. That time he was the computer science student, so he was easily write the code. Then we going to talk about the John Knoll. He was the very industry expert and visual effect expert that time, and he was industrially working for the lights and magic. That time what happened, he was an expert of the light photos and all that. He was facing the problem of the photo editing that time. So the two brothers got together and they sat together and they discussed, why can't we make any program, why don't we make any program which is based on the photo editing software. Like, so it was a big thing in the 1987. We are talking about the 1987. So it was big thing that time because there was no software which can convert the any image, image image any image like any software thing. So photo editing was a very uh, horror thing that time, and the both brothers sat together and they started overthinking over. And yes, what happened, Thomas Knoll wrote a code in 1987, first code write for a program, and that program called as a display later on. Yes, yes, so you heard correctly, display was the first program written by the Photoshop, before Photoshop, by the Thomas Knoll. So John Knoll gave him a direction what he needed in the software, and Thomas Knoll coded like that, and the first software which came out in the market called the display. In 1988 the licensing processing was done of the display. In 89 the officially display was given to the Adobe group, and it is named as an Photoshop 1.0. And in 1990 Photoshop 1.0 came out in 1990. So it was the time when the Photoshop first version came out, PS 1.0, that is Photoshop 1.0. Officially all the outrights of the brother like Thomas Knoll and John Knoll was given to the Adobe company in 95, and later on Adobe is producing successively is the next version of the Photoshop 1.0, 2.0 and so on. So the journey goes on right from the 1989, 90, and 2018 currently. So Thomas Knoll, what he does right now. So Thomas Knoll is right now also the part of the Adobe group, and he's responsible for the development in the Adobe Photoshop. And as the part of the John Knoll and Thomas Knoll always believing to create the Photoshop a very big special effect software, but it is never possible. Though it Photoshop is working throughout the world at a very enormous way and huge way, and is one of the most favorite software in photo editing. But John Knoll was the right now he's connected to the Hollywood things. Like at that time he was industrial work for the industrial uh, light and magic. Now he has worked for the so many movies after that, like Caribbean, that is the movie like Pirates of Caribbean, Mission Impossible, Harry Potter, and the series of the Star Wars. So he is the industry guy. So he is an expert in that visual effect supervisor. He is working like a visual effect supervisor for the movies, and Thomas Knoll is working for the Photoshop only. Now, what is the current scene of the Photoshop, and what is the process of the evolution of the Photoshop? So here we are going to discuss what are the Photoshop versions came out in the market. So here, so in 1987 you can see how the Photoshop was looking like that. So it's a 1987, and then first version came out in 1990, then 2.0, 3.0, 4.5, 6.0, 7.0, and then CS series started. CS series started in the that is called as a creative suite series. Creative suite, here the family was launched like Photoshop, Adobe CS, Adobe Photoshop CS, Adobe Illustrator CS series, Dreamweaver, Flash, After Effect, and some few softwares again like Adobe Premiere kind of thing. CS2 came 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is very popular again. Then CS6 extended came. Now in 2013 Photoshop CC came. CC stands for the Creative Cloud, and it was dedicated to the Thomas Knoll and John Knoll, the brothers, two brothers. When we talk about the Photoshop 3.0 or basic Photoshop, when it came into the market in 90, display we are talking about the display. So in that case there were only three tools like eraser tool, that time it was eraser tool, then a pencil tool, then eyedropper tool. Eyedropper tool is I, pencil tool is a P, and sorry, pencil tool is a B. So B, shift B is a pencil tool, and then it was a eraser tool E, then it was a eyedropper tool I. Then in Photoshop, if we going to talk about the 3.0, then clone stamps tool, layer style, lasso tool, and the most favorite command of the people, that is a Control Z. Undo command was introduced in the 3.0. Then Photoshop 7.0 came with the evolution of the next, and then the Photoshop CS started, that is a creative suite, where the in 2013 Creative Cloud came out in the market. So it was the dream of the Thomas Nolan and John Nolan to convert the Photoshop as a special effects software, but it was never possible. Though it is a very at a very big demand, it is hugely work out in the world market. Now today we are going to talk about now the current scenario of the Photoshop. So he is a Mr. Shantanu Narayan, who is the current managing director of the Adobe Group. The person is Mr. Shantanu Narayan is based from Hyderabad, India. He's completed his schooling from the Hyderabad Public School. Then he completed his the degree in electronics and communication engineering. Then he went to achieve his next education to the America US for the computer science MS, means a masters in the computer science. He did his first job in the Apple. Then he became vice president when he joined the Adobe, and right now he's handling the work of the managing director. And you can see here you can see it is the opening window of the Photoshop, where you can see the number 2, the second name is of Shantanu Narayan. It is also Sitaraman Narayan, you can see here. So Sitaraman Narayan also means we knowing him as Shantanu Narayan as well the same time. So it is what the journey of the Photoshop, which we have given over the thumbnail of our Photoshop journey. It is the story of the Photoshop, journey of the Photoshop, evolution of the Photoshop, as well as what we can see history of the Photoshop. So how you taking this journey? So please comment below, like, share, and subscribe our channel. And if any query you have, please comment below. Thank you very much to watch this video, and bye bye.